Okay guys, welcome back to The Barren Grounds by David A. Robertson. We're currently on chapter 11. This is video 2 of chapter 11. So they are in, Eli and Morgan are now together. And Eli has changed his clothes. He's in a different wardrobe right now. And he's wearing clothes similar to what the fisher was wearing, a leather coat, some moccasins, some leather pants. And Morgan has asked him if he remembered some Cree words because she had a dream of a woman who she believes was her mother. She thinks she had a dream remembering her and her mother together when she was a small child. And her mother is saying the Cree word of don't forget who you are. Okay? We'll just quickly reread from, pardon me, the bottom of page 93. A long silence followed. All they could hear was the crackling of the fire and the gusting wind. During that time, they looked at each other, then away from each other, then all around the room. Morgan spent time assessing Eli's clothing and how he had changed, and thought it was remarkable that he looked this way after such a short period of time. How much time exactly? She wished she hadn't left her phone in the bedroom. How long was I out? She asked. He thought about it for a moment. An hour, maybe? An hour. And the walk here had taken who knew how long because she'd passed out. Again. She was becoming the fainting queen. By now it would be getting close to morning back on Earth. On Earth? Was this not Earth? It couldn't be. Earth didn't have talking animals. Her fantasy reading brain kicked in, leaving behind, for a moment, her worry about time. It couldn't be Earth. But they couldn't be on another Earth either, because they hadn't actually traveled anywhere. They just stepped through a portal, not flown somewhere on a spaceship. Maybe this was some kind of parallel dimension? Yes, that had to be it. She read about parallel dimensions. Oh, Morgan's heart skipped. It was like the multiverse in Spider-Man, and like lots of other comic books. Morgan, Eli said. I said you've been out for an hour. Hello? He waved a hand in front of her face. Okay, she took a breath or two. Now that the theory of the multiverse had been solved, she returned to her worry about time. Actual time. If it was close to morning, that meant they had to start going. Like, now. She stood up. We have to get moving. He sprung to his feet. What? Where? Home. Where do you think? She moved for the door. He stepped in her way. No! Why? Because Katie and James are going to be up soon, and I don't want them to freak. That's why. Now move! Morgan tried to push past him, but he didn't budge. It took you 2 weeks to come find me, and all of a sudden you're worried about getting home before morning? Two weeks? Morgan woke up in the middle of the same night that they had that argument and went into the portal after Eli. She was, if anything, 2 or 3 hours behind him. And yet, Eli, who doesn't tell stories or make up lies, says to her, it took you 2 weeks to get here. So if Morgan is right, and they are in a parallel universe right now, it seems that the time is different there. They're on a different time frame than back on Earth or in Winnipeg or wherever they are. Because Morgan sure doesn't feel like she's been gone, had left Eli there for 2 weeks. Wait, what? 2 weeks? You've been here for 2 weeks? Morgan held her head with both hands, like she had the world's worst migraine. Shut up. Why would you say that? Say what? He asked. I'm just guessing. I don't have a calendar or a phone or anything. Ask Ocek. Weeks? She leaned towards him with deadly serious eyes. Give or take a day. You're lying, she said flatly. I don't know what you want me to say, he whispered. You left the secret room maybe a few hours ago, Eli. At most. You left the room maybe 2 hours before me. But this is, she sat back down on the spruce boughs because she felt like she might faint again. This is just... Now, it wasn't just a multiverse, but time too. Hours in her reality, weeks in this one. Was that why Eli looked so different? Was he telling the truth? How could that even be? You have to be lying. You have to be. Usually we don't want people to be lying to us. And yet, this is so hard for Morgan to understand that she's like, you have to be telling a lie right now. Like, there is no possible way that you left 2 weeks ago. I'm afraid the boy's telling the truth. Ocek entered the room and sat down in the unoccupied chair. It has been over 2 weeks since he arrived in Mizwa. I've been making notches to count the days since. Since what? Morgan tried to keep her voice calm. Seeing Ocek for the first time when she wasn't delirious from the cold was very unsettling. To count the days since the white time began, Ocek said. Show me, she said, which may as well have been her saying, prove it. There was no way that Eli had been gone 2 weeks. Ocek got up from the chair. Follow me. Morgan and Eli followed Ocek into a living area. It was a modest room with one shuttered window and furnished with 2 benches on either side of a fire pit. Arranged on shelves were baskets holding what seemed to be dwindling amounts of preserved foods and medicines and plates, cutlery, and cups that were all made out of bone and clay. Almost every inch of the wooden walls was marked with notches, one for each day. Countless notches. Ocek was near the front door, crouching in front of a small span of unblemished wood near the floor. Eli and Morgan knelt down on either side of him, just in time to see him make one more notch. See here? He pointed to a mark. Yeah, Morgan said. This is when I saved Eli from the barren grounds, just like I saved you from them today. Ocek then methodically tapped each subsequent mark until stopping at the one he just made. Today, right here. All told, including the freshly cut notch, Morgan counted 15. 2 weeks and 1 day. This can't be happening, she said. Trust me. Ocek stuck the knife into the wall, and it stayed there in place. It is. And it is. Just because we think something can't be happening, we think something is impossible, doesn't mean that it's not actually happening. All right, so time is on a different speed wave, I guess, in Mizwa. Eli has been gone for 15 days, 2 weeks and 1 day. And Morgan believes that she left Earth maybe 2 hours after he left. So it almost is seeming that 1 Earth hour is 1 Mizwa week. That's a lot of time in a short period of time. Okay, guys, that's the end of chapter 11. I'll see you again for chapter 12. Bye, guys.